Let's read this article. So this is from the Daily Beast. Joe Manchin won, and the progressives folded like a cheap suit. And then we have a photograph of this guy. Imagine, like, taking this photograph. Like, imagine, like, yes, I am known for taking the photograph of Joe Manchin with his lips, like, right? Like, that's your legacy. But anyway, this is by Matt Lewis. This is an opinion piece, but I feel like I might agree with it. So this is the one I'm reading for the story here. After a long on again, off again, back and forth standoff over whether they would muster the votes to pass President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure bill, progressives finally folded like a cheap suit late Friday night and passed it. Now, folks, 6 of the House members in the Democratic Party voted against this bill. You can guess who they are. It's the squad, folks. It's the goddamn squad. The rest of the so-called progressive caucus decided, fuck it, whatever. They don't care about shit at all. Consider how progressive demands have shifted over these last few months. They went from saying they would pass a bipartisan infrastructure bill only after the Senate passed a $3.5 trillion social spending bill to passing that bill in exchange only for an agreement for a House bill and a half-sized $1.75 trillion package if the Congressional Budget Office, blah, 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 said yes, knowing that there's little chance, even if that happens, that it will make it through the Senate intact. Progressives and Nancy Pelosi can dress this up however they like, but the trade House Democrats made was passing a mainstream popular bill that will become law in exchange for some progress on a sprawling progressive bill that won't, at least not anytime soon. The bill's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, there is, like, that's not, if it does happen, you know, I'll be shocked, but it's not going to happen. The main obstacle to their costly human infrastructure plan has always been Joe Manchin and his fellow moderates in the Senate, whom House moderates are in no way deputized to negotiate on behalf of. Although the decision for progressives to cave was unclear until late on Friday, it had been foreshadowed on Monday, with Congressional Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal's statement saying the president says he can get 51 votes for the bill. We are going to trust him. We're tired of continuing to wait for 1 or 2 people. So again, all right, let me understand this. Okay. So we could have had this bill months ago. Right? We could have had this. Like, because again, the social spending part isn't happening. That's gone. Right? So we could have had the bipartisan infrastructure plan passed in probably July or June or May. So now at this point, the Congressional Progressive Caucus headed by Pramila Jayapal just wasted all of our fucking time. Think about this. Like, if they were wasting our time and then we would have gotten something better at the end of it, it would have been worth it. This just wasted our fucking time and they did nothing. They got nothing. And they look like fucking morons. They look like fucking douchebags. Like, I'm sorry, but I mean, like, fuck. Like, that's the thing I'm thinking about. Is imagine if this bill was passed in June or July. But I'm just like, imagine that, right? We would be knee deep. Maybe the pothole outside of my house would be fixed by now. But the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Pramila Jayapal specifically, held out and did nothing. I don't understand. It's just bizarre. It's bizarre to me. All of this, like, when they went from the $3.5 trillion thing to the 1.75, I was confused. Because why? Like, I just don't understand. This whole process has been so bizarre and so confusing. I don't understand what they were trying to do. Like, the messaging campaign from Pramila Jayapal was pretty bad. She was changing statements every week putting out these weird, vague, confusing statements all the time. It was bizarre. It was confusing. No one understood what was going on. Like, people know that Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are bad, but we've known that. Like, they knew that beforehand. It's not like, in July, Pramila Jayapal just was like, oh my God, Joe Manchin's an unreasonable person. It's like, do you think, like, she woke up on, like, fucking July 15th and was like, oh my God, Joe Manchin he's not acting in good faith. Oh my God, who would have guessed? Right? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what they were doing. And then where's Joe Biden on this shit? Joe Biden said that he wanted $3.5 trillion. Then he was like, fuck it, half that. Now it's nothing. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this whole thing is bizarre. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. But anyway, let's keep reading. I don't feel like keep reading. I don't give a shit. I just, like, this whole process has been a waste of my time. It's been a waste of everyone's time. And there's nothing that's happened. Like, nothing got done. Like, so, I mean, I'm very much so in support of, AOC, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, I believe, are the ones that voted against it. So that's where I'm at. But my problem here is that, again, everyone knows Joe Manchin is bad. Like, everyone, literally everyone in Congress knew that years ago. Years ago. Like, look back to 2018 when AOC and Cori Bush and were just starting to run under the Justice Democrat label. They also had Paula Jean Swearengin, which, by the way, she's batshit insane nowadays, right? But, like, they had 4 members that are trying to go up against corporate Democrats. One of them that they thought was really bad was Joe Manchin, right? So, like, they knew, like, at least since 2018 that Joe Manchin's a horrible guy. So the idea that they just went into this without any plan of action, without any way of getting at Joe Manchin at all, to me is bizarre. It's bizarre. And then when you have these protests going on where people are, like, hounding them over these bills, you have, like, Pramila Jayapal go like, oh, I don't agree with the tactics or whatever. What? Or, like, Kyrsten Sinema as well with the bathroom protest. Remember that? Like, this whole thing has just been it's so bizarre to me. It's like it's a Twilight Zone scenario. How can you pass the biff without the b-b-b-b? Like, and it's also like, all right, let's look at palpable wins here. Okay. More people know that Joe Manchin's a bad person. Okay. Now, what does that do? What does that accomplish? All right. So, let's say maybe 1% of the population knew Joe Manchin was evil. Now, 4% of the population know he's evil. All right. Okay. I mean, that's something. See, my thing is, I don't know if I blame Biden more than I blame Pramila Jayapal for this, because the idea that Biden was acting in good faith, in my opinion, is also ridiculous. I'm not saying that the BIF should have never been passed ever, but I'm saying that, like, I don't know, man. Like, my thing is, like, I'm pretty fucking worried. Because, like, look at this scenario. They're not passing the For the People Voting Act or whatever. Right? They're not passing that. That's not going to happen. Right? So Republicans are making these state laws that are making it significantly more difficult to vote. Right? So I'm worried about the midterms. I'm worried about the next presidential election. And I don't think, like, are the Democrats going to run on, oh, we got the bridges are back? Like, I think, yes, that is good. It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. But no, I don't think Joe Biden was secretly doing Machiavellian puppet strings. I just think that the idea that Joe Biden would side with progressives over Joe Manchin, I think that idea was ridiculous. I think that idea is the ridiculous part. Like, the idea that Pramila Jayapal was like, yo, don't worry, Joe Biden will get him. Right? Like, that's the part. Like, I blame Biden for being a weak, spineless fucking loser. Absolutely. I think everything about the Joe Biden presidency, for the most part, is pretty horrible. And it's just proved that Joe Biden was not more fit for the job than Bernie Sanders. Because do you remember back during the primary, especially those last few weeks before it was over, was, oh, if Bernie gets in, how is he going to get people like Joe Manchin on his side? He'll get nothing passed. Well, at least we would have decriminalized marijuana nationwide. Joe Biden fucked that promise up. Right? Like, at least we would have, like, canceled student loan debt. So all the people saying, oh, well, Biden can work with the senators like Joe Manchin. Apparently not. Apparently fucking not. The one reason that people said that Biden would be a better president than Bernie, apparently that wasn't true. And we all knew it was fucking stupid at the time. But now it's proven beyond belief that it's fucking stupid. Joe Biden is a terrible president. I mean, like, and the idea that Pramila Jayapal was like, oh yeah, don't worry y'all, Joe Biden's got our back. Like, that to me shows, like, some real bizarreness. You know what I mean? That to me shows a level of weird that I don't quite understand. Like, you've experienced reality from whenever you, like, got into politics until now, and you thought Joe Biden was going to be on your side. Right? Like, right? Like, that to me is, like, that's astounding. But, again, this is not, like, the Democrats, like, look at the previous election, man. Like, this is not good. This is not good. The Democrats are going to get fucked in the face. It's not good. Like, this bill, is it better than nothing? Absolutely. It is literally better than nothing. But that's not, like, you know, eating one slice of bread is better than nothing, but it's not as good as eating a whole sandwich. I think Biden is incompetent and doesn't care. And you know what? I want to say that this goes back into my other thing. With most Americans are fucking stupid. Most Americans are just fucking dumb. They're dumb. Like, how did the Democratic Party get this way? Because a bunch of fucking advertisers and corporations bought off both political parties, and the people are just too stupid to do anything about it. They're just dumb. Like, every level here is just stupid. Americans are stupid for voting for these fucking morons. Like, imagine watching an ad, and you're like, well, that's it. I guess I gotta vote for Biden instead of Bernie. Like, imagine not caring at all about the country you live in to even do any sort of basic political analysis or research. Like, that's my thing. Like, I see a corporate-funded ad talking about how communism is wrong or bad or evil and socialism is going to destroy America. My instinct is like, yeah, that sounds stupid. But apparently a lot of people are like, sounds good to me. Let's vote for Joe Biden. He's the only one who can beat Trump. Barely even beat Trump, by the way. Jesus. I'm just sick of stupid motherfuckers. Like, obviously, younger people have got a lot more care in the world. I'm talking about clout. I'm talking about the Democratic Party as a whole. Like, they govern horribly. As, like, you have to understand, most people do not get what the difference is between some... Like, if you ask any random person what the difference between Pramila Jayapal and Lauren Boebert is, their response is going to be, who? Most people don't understand who individual politicians are, or what they do, their careers, their votes. They don't get that shit. They might know some of them that are in the news. They might know their names. They couldn't tell you anything about them. They might know who they voted for, but chances are they don't know their own politician in their district. But what they do know is that the Democratic Party brand and the Republican Party brand, right, carry the weight of how the party got. So I'm just saying, like, if I ask any person in my family how they feel about Democrats or Republicans, they can answer that more intelligently than they could, how do you feel about Pramila Jayapal? Because the response is going to be, who? How do you feel about Nancy Pelosi? Oh, I hate her. How do you feel about AOC? What? How do you feel about Lauren Boebert? Who? How do you feel about Madison Cawthorn? Huh? But if you ask them, how do you feel about the Republican Party? Oh, I don't like them. Or, I like them. Or, they're not that bad. You know, like, so, is it the best way to get about things? To talk about them as a whole? No. So I agree with that if we're having a nuanced conversation. But I'm afraid of a fascist takeover. Like, look at what happened this year. The Trumpers tried to literally destroy the U.S. government. And the Democrats didn't do anything about it. Like, they didn't do anything about it. Then, they lie about the $2,000 checks. Right? Then, they take months to work out this stupid bill that has almost nothing in it. That people are going to recognize. Right? It's going to get harder to vote. Joe Manchin's not going to make voting a right. People are going to see Democrats, they have full control over the government. Now, again, I understand that Joe Manchin is the problem. And if we got to a situation where 30, 40, 50, 60% of the population knew who Joe Manchin was and that he was the problem, this would be a different situation. Right? But people are going to say the Democrats are shit, I'm not going to go out and vote. Because I know people like that. Like, that's how a lot of people act. Because, again, I think, personally, not voting is stupid. I think if you don't vote, you're dumb. I think if you don't vote or even participate in politics, I think you're dumb. That's what I think. I think if everyone studied politics and everyone participated in the system, We would not have the modern incarnation of the Democratic and Republican parties as we have now. Right? So I blame everyone. Except myself. Because no, I'm just kidding. But people are going to say, oh, the Democrats have power and they're not doing anything for me, so I'm not going to go outside. Why bother voting? That's what they're going to say, because that's what they said in the last election in 2021 just now. And yes, Anastasia, that's a good point. If progressives ran this campaign and people weren't fucking stupid and supported them, and we had a lot more protest tactics, and we had a lot more like stalking these politicians around and yelling at them all day, every day, maybe something would have been different. I don't know, man. Oh, man, my back. Holy crap. I think things are not looking good. I really do. I mean, you've got 35 or so percent of the country that believes that the 2020 election was stolen. Right? You've got, half the country doesn't, like 60%, I think, of voting age population doesn't even vote. And they just don't give a shit. And can you blame them? Yes, I can blame them. Yes, I can. I think people that don't vote are stupid. I do. I really do. I genuinely think that non-voters are stupid. I also think Republican voters are stupid. I also think people that vote for corporate Democrats are stupid. Like, yes, Ilhan Omar is doing a great job, but she's one member of Congress. She doesn't define the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is defined by what the average person hears about them. That's what their definition is. And again, the squad did the right thing this time. They did the right thing. They said, fuck that shit. I just think that every system that we have in this country is broken. Like, I think everything. Schools, broken. I mean, again, I hate to bring this up, and I know people are going to roll their eyes. 95% of Americans they just don't care enough about themselves to eat vegetables. 95% of Americans do not eat enough fiber. When you have a society where only 5% of the country knows how and cares about eating vegetables to make themselves healthy, right? The rest of this makes sense. I mean, that video yesterday was mind-boggling. But I mean, again, and how did that happen? Because the food industry got subsidized by Richard Nixon's agriculture secretary, corn subsidies, grain subsidies, meat subsidies, high fructose corn syrup is injected in everything. People get addicted to sugar. They get addicted to processed foods. All of a sudden, your parents don't know how to cook. They can't teach you how to cook. How do you feed yourself if you can't cook? You buy frozen TV dinners. You put them in the microwave. Then you have kids. You don't know how to cook. Your mom didn't know how to cook. Your kids certainly won't know how to cook. The cycles keep going. And if you can't even feed yourself, I mean, again, I can tell you from personal experience, right? I've got a lot better reaction time. I've got a lot better, ability to think about things without losing my train of thought. Right? I'm a lot healthier. I'm a lot physically healthier as well. Having a good diet. So, a lot of people are just walking around with brain fog 24/7. Sorry to all the frogs out there. They don't care about the world. They just want to go to work, get paid, spend all their money on fucking drugs, which I count fast food and unhealthy food as a drug. It is a drug. Go home, barely make the payments on the bills, buy their drugs, sleep, and then wake up and rinse and repeat the next cycle. I love drugs too. Don't get me wrong. Drugs are great. But, I mean, you got to have more to care about in your life than drugs. I don't know. I'm going off on a long-winded rant here. I just hate everything about Congress. I hate everything about the government. It all needs to be reformed entirely. You need to start from fucking scratch. Because this shit ain't working. It's not working. I mean, look at this fucking pandemic. Look at how many people are literally dying because corporations said, we don't want to lock down and stop the fucking virus in 6 weeks. That could have happened in February or May of 2020. But nah, corporations were like, yo, just a couple weeks, we can't do that. We got to open back up. The schools are open. Yeah, the malls are open. Oh, let's go to the festival. Concerts are back. People, literally, millions of people around the world are dead because of capitalism in the last year. Look at any fast food restaurant. You'll see people lined up to get their drugs. Gotta go there and get my breakfast drug, get my lunch drug, get my fucking dinner drug. Gotta give all my money to these big corporations so that they can kill me before I can collect Social Security checks. That's the American way. This country sucks, man. And the best we got is 6 people in the House of Representatives and 1 person in the Senate. That's all we got. Think about what the gains of the progressive movement or whatever are. You got 6 people in the House that give a shit. 1 person in the Senate that gives a shit. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. That's it. And so when you factor that in, there's no way in hell we can combat this system. Of course the biff got passed without the buh-buh-buh. I don't know, man. I'm depressed. This shit depresses me. Yeah, that's the thing. It's yeah, we don't have time. But, what else are we gonna do? Yeah, we don't have time to get fucking 60 members in the House that are communists. We don't have time to, abolish the Senate. But, I mean, it's not... So I'm not gonna vote. I mean, okay, great. That doesn't. At least like. I just am so sick of all of this. I'm so sick of seeing people suffer and die of preventable illnesses because they can't afford health care. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing people die of a virus that shouldn't even be here because we should have locked down when it fucking first entered the country and took it seriously. Like, the fact that the coronavirus pandemic lasted any further than May of 2020, that's... like, this country is okay with mass death. We are okay with murdering our neighbors. That's fine. And we can't even have old people get fucking dentures? That's too much for Congress? Seniors can't even have fucking glasses in this fucking country. What the fuck? Like, think about that. 1 million people dead, nearly, from a preventable virus that we could have just locked down and took seriously, right? Think of the 40 to 60,000 people a year that were dying every year before that because of preventable illnesses that they just didn't have health insurance or they couldn't go to the doctor because they couldn't afford it, so they died of preventable illnesses. Think about the millions and millions of people that died for no reason. Think about all this shit, man. It's depressing. Like, there are people out there that lose their family members to dumb shit. And then they watch these congressional fights, quote unquote. It's like, fuck it. Healthcare, who cares? Like, they just treat it like it's just like, it's like a pet like they're playing Sim City. Like, they're balancing their fucking MMO build. It's like, nah, we could just throw out that healthcare provision. Who cares if hundreds of thousands of people are dying? Who cares? I don't care. Like, I don't get it. And people are just walking around. They're okay with it. People just are okay with it. I don't know, man. I'm depressed. Anyway, this shit's boring. I'm done.